Hey guys, I'm Birdie and this is Clown Cows. Today I wanted to talk about Amberlynn Reid. I know that most channels are covering her What I Ate Today videos, and while those are interesting, I thought it could also be worth our time if we discussed the likely deception behind the videos, and why deceit is one of Amber's go-to behaviors, especially when things get bad and she needs content. Is this Amber simply jumping on the bandwagon that many regularly jump on with TikTok, or is this her setting the stage for another major health-related crisis? Also, what can we gather, if anything, about the possible state of her physical and mental health from her TikTok eating videos? After all, Amber is not a reliable narrator, but we can gather tidbits of unspoken truths just by objectively looking at some key giveaways. I have ideas. I think you probably have some too, so let's chat about it. Amber wants us to believe that she is in the 530s. Now, I don't think anyone actually believes that. The 630s maybe, but not the 530s. We can clearly see by looking at her that she is much, much larger now than she was at her weight loss doctor's office back in the Beck or Jade era. And she was in the mid 520s back then. I do not believe the weights that she tells us because here's the thing. She has been to the ER and multiple doctor's offices in the past couple of years since she has lived in Oklahoma. But she always only tells us what her personal scales say. She may tell us that her doctor's scales weigh her very differently, and by that, I think she factually means that the physician's scales weigh her accurately, meaning that they weigh her more, or else she would tell us what they said. And that's my whole point. She doesn't tell us anything ever about what the doctor's office scales say. She doesn't record it. She doesn't snap a quick photo of it. She doesn't do any of that. Instead, she just lets us know that she went to the doctor, gives us a fake number about her weight. She will tear the scales if she plans on showing us the scales. And I think that this is because she is embarrassed and maybe even a little bit ashamed of what she has done to herself. As much as she can say she doesn't see it, she doesn't realize it, I think she does. And I think that she also believes that that number represents how badly she has failed herself and how easily she gives in to temptations, her demons. When I first saw her on the TikTok videos, my initial thought was how her face is so large and puffy looking, even her eyes looked swollen. She looked like she'd been in an accident, or maybe as if she was having a terrible allergic reaction to something. For a split second, I even questioned if that egg allergy could be real, because she has been eating a lot of eggs. She just looks like someone connected her to a helium machine and aired her up. It is so bizarre to see her like this. Her face appears misshapen. It looks tight and like it's hanging all at once. She looks sickly, and I do think that she probably does need to be evaluated by a doctor if she has one. I doubt that she will, though, because her pattern is to lie and clickbait a bunch of non-issues for content. She doesn't actually talk about anything legitimate that's happening in her life. And she does this because she wants to elicit that natural concern, response, and engagement from her audience, but then be able to backtrack and say, oh no, don't worry, everything's good, because she doesn't want to have to answer follow-up questions about any of it. In the midst of it all, she's not showing us any proof of anything being legitimate, though. She's just telling us stories, and that we can ask her mother if we don't believe her. The entire situation with Amber is a lost cause. It's just a joke. And it kind of reminds me of a pyramid scheme with her and her lying mother being the most involved. Let's just look at it for what it is. It's like Amber is up at the top of the pyramid. She tells the lies of the health crises, of a wellness journey so that she doesn't cease to exist. And then she'll tell many stories behind a paywall with her memberships, using filters all the way to give this facade of her improving her health. But then she is seen out in the wild, looking worse and larger than ever, The scheme then collapses because people know the truth. The paying members lost their money to her lies. Amber then disappears for a little while, saying it's for her mental health. She rebuilds a new scheme and then starts fresh again as soon as she returns. This time, though, her new scheme is on TikTok because she has a lot of viewers there who do not know her full history, and they truly do believe that she's just this super morbidly obese woman fighting for her life. It's as if someone hit rewind and Amber was taken back 14 years to start over. It's not going to work. There are a lot of variables that have changed this go-round. Despite her old videos being deleted, for example, she will still be unable to play the character of the sweet, innocent young woman who's just wanting support as she wages war on her food. Although she is relatively unknown to TikTok, her true character is archived. 100% of every video Amber ever made is archived, so proof is readily available for anyone who questions who she really is. Amber likes to play games for views because views equate to effortless money on her end. We have seen the on-again, off-again game that she likes to play where she was abused, but she was actually lying. This is all about Emily, you know? And then she said, well, I told you the truth, and you can ask my mom, or watch me fake read words that were never actually written in my journal that I am going to sell, but then destroyed, by the way, for legal purposes. Amber's just a clown. A big, ugly, scary clown who, when she could walk, victimized people and animals for content. And look, I know this is merely my opinion, but to anyone who may see this and question Amber's true character, you must realize the company that she chooses to keep. She has a dear girlfriend who allegedly forced an ex to fatten up on protein shakes. And that same girlfriend is now congratulating Amber on drinking unnecessary protein shakes. Drinking calories adds calories, but it doesn't really satiate hunger, especially for someone like Amber who's used to eating through troughs of food at each meal. So it very much appears that Emily is encouraging Amber to drink unnecessary calories, knowing that Amber will still gorge herself later. She will lose control, and she will still binge eat when the time is right. In my opinion, it's Emily's way of causing Amber to gain, just like she did with Megan and like she did with Colleen. I think this is Emily's pattern, and I think it does involve those liquid calories that are consumed, non-satisfying, and they're attractive to people who have an unhealthy liking of milkshakes or ice cream and just foods like that. But the liquid protein will also be forgotten about and will also be followed up with a huge meal like a Chinese buffet where someone like Amber will think she skipped brekkie so she can make extra runs to the food bar. We have either seen or heard of similar cycles like this for many years now when it comes to Amber and the other lolcows. But this is what you have to remember if you're just now learning about Amber. She chooses to date a woman who has a history of physically harming other women. There is a pattern of her girlfriend harming others, the same as there's a pattern of Amber harming people who have been in her life as well. Amber seems to gravitate toward people who are much like her, and her current girlfriend is probably the most like her of anyone that we've ever seen her date before. Amber is a horrible human being, and she is choosing to be around someone else who is also a horrible human being. I personally think that the two are working together using Amber's platform to make money. I think that they have some shady things going on in the background. I know that a lot of other creators also think this. There has been speculation on what Amber is doing for money and how much of a hand Emily has played in getting Amber connected to the people who are interested in watching that type of content. I think this time around, though, regarding TikTok and Amber, this cycle that she's always on is much more dangerous this time. Because this time, Amber very clearly is beginning well into the 600s. Her fad dieting or calorie counting has always consisted of secret, late night or the vast overconsumption of foods in the middle of the night. And since she is wearing the same makeup on a very obviously unwashed face and the lighting stays the same, I personally think it is safe to presume that all of her what I ate today meals are being consumed in a very short amount of time, including during the night, with a lamp serving as her lighting. She is also appearing bigger, not smaller, and has resorted to putting on brown blush in a stripe pattern from her temple to her mouth creases. And I think that's in an attempt to maybe create this illusion of a cheekbone or to make it look like her face actually sinks in, because the reality is it doesn't. This tells me that Amber is seeing what she has physically done to herself. And all the while, Emily is congratulating Amber on the protein shakes and the protein candy bars that Amber is showing herself consuming in hordes. If anyone thinks that Amber is actually improving her life this time, please consider this. She's been in active addiction on camera for at least 14 years. She has previously told us that she starts a health journey just to seriously overconsume because she gets bored, or she gets happy or sad, or just craves the food so much. So she stays up all night and she eats thousands and thousands and thousands of calories. She is not in therapy for food. She is partnered with someone who is well documented to prefer 800-pound women. If you think Amber is really counting calories, not and sticking to a calorie deficit, I'm afraid you're being tricked. The videos and images of Amber, in my opinion, show us a woman more out of control within her addiction than we have ever seen her before. I think that we're only going to know that she is serious about a health journey when she goes to a scrapyard or a bariatric facility, just some type of a place that has scales equipped to handle larger amounts of weight with accuracy, and when she starts filming herself being weighed at one of those facilities. When she is willing to be that fully transparent and that honest with us, but mostly that honest with herself, I think that's the only point where we can say, okay, she's believable and she's actually putting forth a true effort this time. I think anything short of that's just a reflection of how poor her physical and mental and emotional state truly is right now, and also how poor of character she remains in order to scheme and scam more people over on TikTok. But this is her game, and it's at the cost of her health and her life. Things are officially at an all-time low for her, in my opinion, and at this point, I don't think she can turn it around. I do wonder, though, how the news will break of her life ceasing to be, though. Unfortunately, I think it's just around the corner. If you're new, I'm Birdie, and I really appreciate you for being here. To anyone who needs to reach me, just send me an email. I'll be around. Every day is a new day where hopes and dreams can be realized. Never give up on yourself. You are strong, you are capable, and you are worth every effort to reach any goals you may have. Be safe, be kind, and be loved. I'll see you right here next time. Bye for now.